Today we listen to the message, Spiritual Food in Due Season. And Brother Branham gives us a great story in the Old Testament that shows us exactly what's going on in our day today. Now Brother Branham takes us back to the days of the children of Israel. And they had a king by the name of Ahab. Ahab, right. And he was one of Israel's most wicked kings. So in this day, God sent the prophet Elijah. And Elijah was one of the most ruggedest prophets that there ever was. He was not a smooth man, he was a rugged man. And the prophet had been so long in the presence of God that Elijah spoke as if he was God himself. And Elijah said, "There'll not even be dew fall till I call for it." And why did that happen? Because the people had got so modern, Brother Branham said, they didn't want to hear the true word of the Lord. But Brother Branham said, during the time that he was going to punish the unbeliever, he made a way for the believer. And God always makes a way for the believer. So there was going to come a famine. And this is what a famine really is. Look at this. Now sometimes you look outside and we see rain falling. What is this? Rain falling. And sometimes you take it for granted. But what happens in a famine is that there is no rain, no more rain. And God told Elijah that it wasn't going to rain now according to the word of God for 3 years and 6 months, or until Elijah called for it. So there's going to be no rain. And what happens when there's no rain? Now, if there's no rain, there won't be any water. The trees will dry up. And then the animals will die because they don't have anything to eat. And you can't grow corn or wheat. So all of that goes away. And eventually, the land becomes dry. Watch. Dry. But God made a promise to Elijah. And here what he told him. He told him to go down to this brook that is called Cherith, the brook Cherith, and he said he will feed him there. Now watch. Brother Branham said, notice, feed thee there. He said not somewhere else. He's going to feed him there. So Brother Branham said, notice that. So at the brook Cherith, God made a way for some ravens. These are some blackbirds called ravens. And they brought bread and flesh to Elijah. You see that bread in Elijah's hand? See that bread? The ravens brought it, bread and flesh, in the morning and in the evening for Elijah to eat. So God was sustaining Elijah during the famine. When there was the whole of Israel, there was nothing to eat, nothing could grow, no rain, not even dew. But Elijah had hidden food. You see, Brother Branham said, but God had provided a secret place for Elijah to be fed all the time during the drought, where his food was provided day by day. So day by day, the ravens fed him. Then one day, the brook Cherith dried up. Eventually, it dried up. But God still had a way for Elijah. So God told Elijah to go down to this widow's house. There was a widow. This was the widow woman, and she had a little son. And God told him to go down to this widow woman, and he will sustain him. So she only had a little bit of meal, and a little bit of oil. That's all she had. And she was going to make her last meal for herself and her boy, and then she said they're going to die because they have nothing else to eat. And then Elijah came on the scene. Look, Elijah came. Watch. Elijah came. And God told Elijah to tell her, go inside and make a little meal for him. For thus saith the Lord, neither the meal nor the oil wouldn't finish until God sent rain in the land again. So that is why Brother Branham said, but thanks be to God, we've got hidden food. So even though there was famine all over the land, God sustained them at the brook, and then even God sustained the widow because of Elijah. Because of Elijah coming to the widow's place, the widow and her son were saved, they were sustained. And it's the same thing for us. Now, hear what Brother Branham says. We are very aware that there is a great spiritual drought in the land today. That's today. That's the day that we live in now. There will come a famine in the land, and it won't be for bread alone, but for the hearing of the word of God. But God made a way for us, just like God made a way to sustain Elijah in the famine and the widow in the famine. God has made a way for us. Now, who's this? Brother Branham. And God told Brother Branham to store up the food. So it's really the bride's food. So God told Brother Branham, he preached it, and they recorded it, and now they have it in many forms that we could eat it. The spiritual food is ready. So today we have spiritual food, and it's in season now, and each one of you can have the food, this food, if you wish it. Now, the world knows nothing of this food, but the church, the true believer, the body of believers has access to food, spiritual food. So we are very thankful for the spiritual food, and we have some. While the world is starving, we have lots. We have tape loads of food to eat day by day.